What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Rise of Tryhard Sunset Canyon Edition. Today I'm going to try something new. I'm going to introduce a new series that I'd like to do every day if I can. I'm going to call it the Daily 5 because in my kingdom, I can keep second place here without much effort. This guy can beat me. In fact, this guy, I believe, just 1 minute ago, he defeated me. And I can't beat him. However, otherwise, I'm well ahead of most of the competition, and I can hold number 2 spot without spending a lot of points to do it, which means I can kind of waste the points by showing you guys interesting challenges. And the reason I get so many points is because I attract a lot of challenges. You can see these are all free challenges from players in my kingdom. The reason they keep attacking me is because I use a 4-march defense. And because I'm the only player in the top, on the leaderboard that uses 4 marches, there's me. I have 19 million power. Every other player, of course, uses 5 marches because why would you only use 4 marches? That'd be dumb. But they see me up here in spot number 2 with 4 marches and they think, oh, we can beat him. So I attract many challenges throughout the day and get all these free points. So I don't have to actually, all I have to say, I don't have to actually challenge anybody in order to keep my second place. And I know I can't get first place. So what I'm going to do is just go through the players that below me and tell you what, I'll analyze their teams, I'll analyze their arrangements, and then we'll do a match against them. And I'll try to pick every day 5 different people and something different about each arrangement that you can learn from. Sometimes I talk to people that have questions and I ask them, well, what's your arrangement against this player? Or how do you defeat him? And they're like, I don't know. I put the same attack formation for every player. No, that's not the Rise of Tryhard's way. When we try hard, we analyze each opponent and we beat them by outsmarting them. So for this first episode here, I prepared a little PowerPoint. So I'm going to start with this guy. I'm going to move on to that guy. I'm going to analyze that guy. I'm going to analyze that team. And then just for fun, we're also going to look at the Logic Bank, my hero and mentor. So let's first look at this team. And just to make it simpler here, I pulled out what his team is. So that when I look at this team, the first thing I see is Expertise YSG. We're here at Kingdom Day, I don't know, like 100 or something. We're just about to start KVK1. So an Expertise YSG pre-KVK1 is like really a handful to deal with. It's kind of like having an Expertise Minamoto the first month of the kingdom. It's really a handful. So he has Expertise YSG, Expertise Minamoto. We want to avoid this debuff, this AoE debuff from Ethelfled. We want to try to avoid the Sun Tzu AoE as much as we can. But really, the other marches, this guy and this guy, I don't know. This march is going to live forever, but it's not going to do that much damage. Unless it will do damage if you put a bunch of marches on it. So if we can just kind of let Charles Martel and Richard just kind of hang around for a while and not do a ton of counterattack damage to me and wait till the other guys are dead. And if we can kind of wait for this to I don't know, till the end, we have a good shot here. So let's look at his arrangement is the next thing. What do you see when you see this arrangement? I'll tell you what I see. I see Minamoto exposed at the bottom. When Minamoto is exposed and not protected, it is a gift. The defender is telling you, I want you to kill my Minamoto quickly. So we're going to do that. That's priority number 1. The second thing you see is Ethelfled as the primary commander in the front row. Now, Ethelfled has the talent tree for each march comes from the primary commander. I talked in my previous video about commanders. Really, you want your tanks to have an infantry talent tree because that's where all the tanky plus health plus defense comes from. Ethelfled is a beautiful commander, but I think she should be a secondary to the infantry commander. So He probably put Ethelflaed in front because Ethelflaed's level 50 and Sun's only level 47. With that small of a level difference, I might, in this scenario, actually use Sun as the primary, even though I can bring fewer troops. Maybe not, I don't know. But I don't think Ethelflaed is an awesome primary commander. This march is not a great tank. The problem with this here, though, is remember this YSG, which was the first thing we saw. The YSG is in the back. So the strategy here is do as little as invest as few resources as possible to the top. Target the Minamoto, eliminate him as quickly as possible, and then get to the YSG. And to get to the YSG, you got to go through the Ethelflaed. So this was my strategy to do it. I'm going to actually run the match and just to make sure it worked. When Minamoto is exposed, you put an infantry across from him and you wipe him out. When Ethelflaed is the front, you put your whatever you can, your highest damage, across from her and wipe her out. And when these two marches up here are not going to do much damage, I'm just going to put Joan against them. So let's actually run that match. Let's see. Challenge. He was number 3. There he is. Challenge. Okay, so Sun Tzu is there. We're putting Joan here. We're putting City Keeper here. I want to eliminate this Minamoto as quickly as possible. And then I want Thutmose to rotate down and try and AoE as much as I can. Let's just see how well this works. And this will be a inauspicious start to the series if I lose the first match. But we're watching, can Joan stay alive? So we can just kind of ignore this up here. How quickly does Minamoto die? We want him to die maybe 130. 135 would be even better. He's on track to die at 135, and Ethelflaed also as well, because we want to get to that YSG who's going to rock us if we let him go. So at 135, Ethelflaed dies, and at 132, Minamoto dies. Those are great numbers, because now we got to YSG, and I'm YSG probably rocked us, but it's okay because that's done. So now you have 5v2. It doesn't matter if Joan died. In fact, it doesn't matter if Joan is very low. She provides the same 30% buff even when she has 14,000 troops remaining. So I think I'll probably finish this with 4 commanders still alive, which was maybe only 3. It doesn't matter. If we finish with 1 commander still alive, we win. So you see that Martel and Richard live a long time. It doesn't matter. They didn't do enough damage to affect me. I might even finish this with all 5 marches still up, which would be great. So let's look at the stats. Let's see how much YSG did. Not that much. Because Minamoto died so quickly, Ethelflaed and Minamoto both died so quickly, they did such little damage. And a lot of this damage that Martel and Richard did was probably the second half of this match, when really the whole thing is already decided. My Sun Tzu did a lot of damage. Being in the middle, he did a lot of damage. So that was a great arrangement. Let's look at the next one. The next one, did I do this? Yeah, right. So that was a great arrangement for that player. And that player, I think, let's look, but that player had 65 million power to my 19 million power. So it's pretty cool. The next one we're looking at is this. Looks like someone else jumped up there, but that's okay. So this player is 29.3 million power. Let's look at their team. Again, another expertise YSG. These are a bummer. And this time, this YSG is paired with Martel. We'll see where that march is, but that's interesting pairing. That YSG is going to cause some problems. Expertise Minamoto again. Expertise Sun Tzu, not max level. The Bjorn and Baibars are both below level 50 capped, so probably they're only 5 stars, so they're probably missing some talents. Let's look at the arrangement. The first thing that jumps out to me is when you see unit numbers of 105,000, that means VIP 14. So when you're VIP 14, you get a cheat code, you get 5% more troops free. So that's, it's not free. You paid a whole bunch of money to get VIP 14 this early, and in exchange, you get 5,000 more troops. But when I look at this, I see in this middle row, I want this. I want to eliminate this. This YSG is going to be the problem. It's got 105,000 troops. It's got infantry. I think it'd probably be better. I think this would be better with YSG having a primary commander that does skill damage. Martel does not. This is probably a waste of an expertise YSG. But anyway, what we see is front and back infantry. When we see that, you can target them with archers. Archers counter infantry with plus 14% more damage. So I think it's a mistake to put front and back the same unit type, because I'm going to target them with archers. Okay. Here was my idea I had when I made this PowerPoint slide up. The Baibars is not expertise, right? Yeah, it was not expertise, level 48. Let's just like pull this out. Let's pull his Joan and Baibars out of here. So the expertise Joan is probably more valuable than a non-expertise Baibars. Let's just get this march out of there. And we're going to do that by putting City Keeper way up here in the corner and forcing Baibars to and come clear out of range of everybody else. And then I said that there's front and back infantry, so we're going to definitely put an archer against them. My best damage dealer is Sun Tzu, so we want to get to that YSG. We're going to put Sun Tzu in front of the archers. Then we're left with the other two marches, Joan against Sun Tzu, and we'll pair up the Minamotos. Now, he has more troops. All across the board, he has more troops, but let's just see how it goes anyway. Let's go back into the sunset. Let's find him. He's number 5. Here he is. Challenge. So what did I say? Put City Keeper way up here. Get Baibars out of there. Sun Tzu is going to be in front of this double infantry pair. The archers behind him are going to target the double infantry. We're going to put Joan down here, Minamoto behind. And we're going to hope to get this Joan out of there. Because if we can get Joan out of AoE range, out of AoE buff, she's basically useless. So I'm trading City Keeper to get rid of Joan. And I think that's a good trade. And I think even City Keeper will probably kill and then come along and help with this YSG if the YSG is still alive. Let's watch it. So Baibars should be, I don't know, definitely out of position from the bottom. We're watching that Martel. We want to kill that Martel. We can't get to him because there's the tank in front, but the tank's dying pretty quick. And this Sun Tzu's dying pretty quick too. So these guys hopefully will be gone at 1:30. The Sun's definitely going to be gone at 1:30. Baibars is staying alive pretty long. I didn't quite pull his Joan all the way out, but it was probably far enough. Martel, I was talking like, oh, I wouldn't put YSG with Martel. Martel is keeping YSG alive. But we have 4v1 versus Martel and YSG, and we're avoiding the Baibars AoE. Joan's buff is getting everybody, but now it's going to be 5v1. So that worked out pretty good. Great. Let's just see how much YSG did. Yeah, YSG did double damage of everybody else. So, yeah, well, I mean, I shouldn't talk too badly about that because that was his best march and it did the most damage, but the setup of everybody else wasn't good enough and I was able to get through his double infantry. Cool. So that worked out great. Did I finish with all 5 marches up again? Yeah, I did. Awesome. Okay, great. So the next one is this. This player is 48.5 million power. I pulled it out of PowerPoint again. Okay, when I look at this. Okay, this march will stay alive forever. A level 60 Martel will stay alive for a really long time. But it won't do much damage. This guy is just not scary. And there's no AoE here. There's no AoE here. This is an AoE buff. That's good. But okay, when I look at this, there is one march that's AoE. One march. At the Minamoto's expertise. But okay, in the last video I talked about your budget of stars. And when you see level 50, level 46, you know this guy ran out of stars. He would love to have a level 60 Minamoto, but he doesn't have enough stars because he started up to 5 stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That might not be 5 stars. He started up 5 legendary commanders, and when you do that, your Minamoto is then stuck at 50. This is why you gotta limit how many legendary commanders you use early game, because you're gonna run out of stars like he did. Yeah. So a 5-star Minamoto is not as scary as 6-star Minamoto. Let's look at his arrangement. We see again 105,000 troops. That means he has VIP 14 again. The Caesar is, dang, 111,800. Goodness. Okay, if you put a lot of marches on Charles Martel and Richard, the counterattack is going to get you. But down here, where is that YSG? Oh, he doesn't have YSG. Oh, cool. That's great. Down here is like, I don't know. When I look at this, my first thought is always, if I can get to Minamoto, I'm gonna get to Minamoto. And in this particular arrangement, I should be able to get to Minamoto with 4 marches. And then I could potentially, remember, I like to use Scipio. He does high counterattack damage. So one way to look at this is always focus on Minamoto when he's exposed. Always go kill him. And when I was thinking about this, I was like, I could even put all 4 of these marches on Minamoto. Let City Keeper, like, I don't know, try to stay alive through this. Because I was just talking about how Martel and Richard are going to do high counterattack damage if you put a ton of marches on them. Let's just see how long City Keeper can stay alive. While we eliminate Minamoto. This should get rid of Minamoto in like 1 minute 37 seconds, which would be maybe 1 minute 40, which would be awesome. Get Minamoto out of there, and then kind of like the chaos of rearranging, because really we don't care about any of these 3 marches, like Hannibal, Martel, and Julius Caesar. None of these guys are going to do much damage. I want to get to the sun, but it's like it's trapped. It's trapped, and I'm not trapped. From my perspective, it's protected. It's protected by a wall, and 3 marches that are going to take forever to get through. 113,000 troops, 12,000 troops, and 105,000 troops. So one idea is let City Keeper tank all 4 of those for a minute and go kill the Minamoto, because you always want to get rid of Minamotos. And then there's going to be a giant chaos, because City Keeper is going to die at the same time as Minamoto dies. And then these guys all down here are all going to turn. These guys up here are all going to turn. And there's just going to be chaos, which maybe during the chaos, Sun Tzu will get exposed and I can target him. So let's try and do that. This is ambush. Sometimes the chaos works to your advantage. Sometimes the chaos does not work to your advantage. But in this case, there's no clean way to get to Sun Tzu. So we might as well just like throw a grenade in there and like hope that the chaos results in us getting what we want. We're looking for ambush. There he is. Okay, so we're going to put City Keeper down here. What did I say? I want to target Minamoto with infantry up front, and might as well put my Minamoto back behind him. I'll put Joan down here, like maybe he'll help City Keeper against the horde of marches coming at him. I'll put my archer down here. Whenever, in this arrangement, my marches should go up. I think they'll go up. And especially if I have City Keeper in the front row. If I had him back here, it's possible Joan is going to be closer to Martel, and Martel will want to go up. I don't know, but let's just put City Keeper here and hope that all 4 go to City Keeper. City Keeper has Scipio as the secondary. Whenever Scipio gets hit, he'll try and do extra counterattack damage. So we'll see how long City Keeper can. I'd like City Keeper to last a little bit longer than Minamoto. But let's watch it and see what happens. And I think it's possible because CPO does help. So all 4 marches went up to Minamoto. We know City Keeper's going to die. It's okay. Look where Sun Tzu came up. He came up to the top. He rotated up. So when Minamoto dies, everybody should get to Sun Tzu first. Let's see. Well, they went to the Hannibal, but Sun Tzu is right. Look at this. Look at City Keeper CPO. He's staying up. He's staying up. He's still staying up. We eliminated the Minamoto. There's just a crap ton of troops here. There's a ton of troops. So in the chaos of the rearrangement, it may not have worked to our advantage this time because Sun Tzu is not getting hit. The one AoE march that we wanted to target, we didn't get to him. But we did get through that Martel Richard. It just takes a long time to get through Martel Richard. They just live for a long time. But now we're down to 4v2, so we should be okay. Someone asked on my previous channel, what do you think of Julius Caesar? I don't love him. He soaks up stars. So when your Julius Caesar is your primary commander, yeah, he's cool and all. Like, he has some cool stuff, but let's look back at Ambush's team again as soon as the AoE dies. Let's look at the stats here real quick. Yeah, the counterattack did a lot, but let's look at City Keeper did okay. City Keeper killed some dudes. So all that time at the beginning, City Keeper did okay. Thankfully, he doesn't have YSG or more AoE, because look, the AoE again did the most. So let's look again at Ambush's team, though. I want to look at the Ambush team if I can find it. He might have dropped down a little bit because I attacked him. Where is he? Here he is. Okay, would you rather have a level 46 Caesar and not enough stars? This is my budget discussion. This is the answer to what do you think of Julius Caesar? Would you rather have a level 46 Caesar and a level 50 Minamoto? Or would you rather have an Epic here, or even City Keeper? Goodness gracious, City Keeper's free, and a level 60 Minamoto. Personally, I would rather have a level 60 Minamoto there, and Julius Caesar is just not worth the stars. In isolation, in a perfect world where you have unlimited stars, unlimited experience books, great, use Julius Caesar. But that's not the world we live in. We live in a world where Julius Caesar soaks up your stars to get to level 46, and then your Minamoto is stuck at 50 and can't progress to 60. Okay, cool. So that was Ambush. This is my friend. Yeah, okay, good. Back to the PowerPoint. Okay, this is my friend in my alliance. He has 5 level 60 commanders, which is really awesome. 5 level 60 commanders, and let's count his AoE. 1 AoE, 2 AoE, AoE buff, 3 AoE, 4 AoE. No, that's not AoE. That's 3, that's 4, that's 5. So he has YSG, and he also has 5 AoE commanders. He put his YSG with his archers, which I think makes more sense than that previous player who put him with the infantry. Yeah, okay, let's look at his arrangement. Yeah, oh, I guess the Minamoto is not expertised. Baibars is, Sun is, Joan is. But his team would probably be better with an expertised Minamoto. But he does have 5 level 60 primary commanders, which is really impressive. So let's look at the arrangement. What a breath of fresh air that his troops only have 100,000. So he is not VIP 14. Thankfully, he only has his level 60 commanders all have 100,000 troops, which is great, except for the Joan Matilda. The Joan gives plus 3%, which would bring him to 103. We see 106, which means he's unlocked his 4th skill for Matilda to get plus 3% more. There's a penalty in doing that. I've actually not only 3-starred Matilda, which I talked about in the last video, because that extra 3,000 troops is costing him minus 20% attack. I don't think it's worth it. So I keep my Matilda low, 3 stars. So the reason he has 106 is here. He gets plus 3% troops from Joan, plus 3% troops from Matilda, but that 3% comes at a cost. It comes at minus 20% attack. So let's see. You know what? I have the same commanders. I mean, we have the same mentor, Logic Bank. So I have pretty much the same commanders, and I have I don't know. Like I was talking about, my Joan's stronger than his Joan. My archers are led by a stronger Thutmose. My Minamoto is expertised. You know what? When I see this, I'm like, I don't have to be so fancy. Like I'm like, oh, I need to like cause chaos and rearrange and like reach around to the back. In this arrangement, like let's just line up mano y mano and like fight with the same commanders directly across from each other. I think I can take him. So that's what we're gonna do here. Oh, nothing fancy here. Sometimes the simple approach works totally fine. Here we go. Challenge. Oh, I gotta find him here. What was he, number 4 or something? 5. Challenge. Okay. So let's just line them up straight across from each other. Exactly how he has lined up. Minamoto here, Sun Tzu here. He has his Joan, but my Joan, see, my Joan is 103. I have the same talent as his Joan, but I don't get extra troops from my Matilda, but my Joan does bring 20% more attack than his. And my Thutmose, I feel like, is a little stronger than his. Kusunoki, my Minamoto's expertise. My son's the same. Yeah, I feel like, you know, all his troops are going to go down a little tiny bit faster than all my troops. And unless he's unusually lucky with something, I should be able to win this. I don't have to be like super fancy. We should see all his troops go into the yellow 1 second before all my troops go there. His yellow, and my Joan. See, my Joan's still a little ahead because his Joan loses 20% attack. And my archers are a little bit ahead of his archers. Probably up here, he might, I don't know, his City Keeper Martel might do a little better than my City Keeper Scipio. I just have more troops. It's half dozen of one, 6 of the other. It's probably they'll probably end up about the same, but everybody else all be you know 5% more at the end probably, which is enough. It's a fight to the death. I don't have to have most of my troops left. I have to have 1 troop left. So it looks like that's going to work. Now all 4 marchers are going to go up and help. They're all low, but that's fine. I wasn't protecting anybody. I just lined up straight across. And I think you'll probably see both of our stats, because we have the same stuff, you'll probably see both of our stats are about the same. Like my Sun Tzu killed a little more than his Sun Tzu. His archers did, oh, he has YSG, right. His archers did better than my archers. But otherwise, that was a pretty straightforward fight. Okay, I have one more. I want to save. Yeah, okay. I do want to save, just in case someone attacks me. I have 2 challenges. Just in case someone attacks me, though, I want to be sure to keep 1 challenge in the my back pocket. But I hope that you're all excited about this. I'm going to fight my friend and the man I learned so much from, the Logic Bank. I'll fight him, his team next. So he has, it's such a difference between a player that is like exceptionally good at the game and these the first couple players that like, they spent a ton of money. They were VIP 14, VIP 15, but their pairings were bad. Look at Logic Bank's pairings. 1 AoE, 2 AoE, 3 AoE, 4 AoE, plus the debuff, 5 AoE, 6 AoE, AoE buff, AoE debuff, 7 AoE. It's like oh man, it's like the team composition is just so much more beautiful in this player that is really knows the game. There is a problem with his approach, and he knows it. He and I have talked about it for hours. The problem with doing that much AoE is look at his tanks. He has 1 exceptional tank, the same tank that I use, an expertise Sun Tzu, with Ethelfled. That's a perfect tank. He then has half a tank. Because he wanted to get so much AoE, which, I mean, that's totally what he's going for, he has 1.5 tanks because his City Keeper, and he put AoE damage. And City Keeper does not love having skill damage with him. In fact, he has skills that his talents increase his normal attack damage at the expense of skill damage. So the AoE that he's bringing here in that march is actually less than he might otherwise, and he has 1.5 tanks. So it's tricky. There's trade-offs. That's the trade-off that Logic Bank is making. He's saying, I want to be less survivable by bringing more damage. And I'll show you what his arrangement looks like. When I see this, the first thing that jumps out to me, oh my goodness, his archers are in the front row. Oh, and the second thing is he's not VIP 14, which is, I mean, Logic Bank is free to play, so being VIP 14 would be exceptional. There's no shame in not being VIP 14. I'm not VIP 14. But his troops are not level 60, and they're not VIP 14, so I have more troops than him. That's the first thing you notice, the troop count. The next thing you notice, his trade-offs, he's protecting down here, but this archer is so exposed. And if you just get a Minamoto on the archer, it's going to melt. So that's how you attack. Thutmose. Archers counter infantry, so you don't put an infantry in front of them. I put my siege in front of them. So yeah, archers give plus 5% attack against siege because everything counters siege, but his archers will do plus 14% damage to infantry. So don't put an infantry in front, and instead put cavalry behind. And this Minamoto is expertise, and it's going to do plus 14% damage to archers. So his Thutmose is going to melt. It's going to be a rash of AoE everywhere. It's going to be an explosion of AoE. But we're going to get rid of that Thutmose super quick. And then we're just going to get City Keeper out of there. Remember, City Keeper had Mehmed with him. City Keeper Mehmed. So let's just drag City Keeper out of here and make sure that Mehmed's cone is pretty narrow. So we want to be sure it doesn't hit anybody else. So let's go fight Logic Bank, and then that'll be our last challenge for the day, and I'll call it an end of the video. Let's go find him. He has told me he doesn't mind being challenged. Normally, out of respect, I wouldn't challenge someone that's taught me so much, but for the sake of the video, most days I don't challenge him, but today I will. So we want to avoid, let's see, put City Keeper down here, avoid that. We're going to put Minamoto across from his archers. We don't want to put an infantry across from archers. We're going to put a siege across from his archers. It's nice when when the Ethelfled half cone can hit 4. That's great. So Sun should affect Sun and Ethelfled should be able to target 4 with that arrangement. And we'll put the archers here. Archers, when the attacker, remember, rotates down. So we're going to see this Thutmose come across here. They're going to meet in the middle. Thutmose is going to go down and blast AoE up. So this should be a pretty clean win, unless he has something unusual with his archers and they stay alive longer than I want them to. But let's just watch the counter now, and we're going to see how quickly Thutmose dies. We want him to die, 135 or maybe 140, which is right there, and that'll let us get to his buy bars. I was hoping the Sun Tzu would be a little further away, but still the Thutmose AoE not hitting. So it's 140, 138, 136 is he's got some equipment. So his archer actually lasted quite a while against my expertise Minamoto and Siege March, and he did a bunch of damage to my Joan. Yikes. Okay, he's a lot stronger in reality than he looked on paper. I think I'll be able to beat this, but yikes! I was expecting that archer to go down much faster and do far less damage. Yikes! This is quite a bit closer. I would say Logic Bank was probably the strongest. Logic Bank and the last guy, Lord, were far stronger than those VIP whales. Yeah, I've got Joan almost died. The cool thing about Joan almost dying, when she has 488 troops, you know what? She's still doing 30% buffs. When she had 388 troops at the end, or whatever, well, how many was it? She had 359 troops at the end, and you know what? She was still providing a plus 30% buff. So it doesn't matter how many troops Joan has. When you have scenarios where you know a commander is going to take a bunch of damage, you have to pick which commander to do it on. Put it on Joan, especially if she can live. She can take the damage. Don't let your Minamoto get down to 359 troops, because his damage is a damage factor of how many troops he has left. So when Minamoto has 359 troops left, he has very little damage. When Joan has 359 troops left, she provides exactly the same buff. So why was he so strong? What happened? Okay, his Sun Tzu did a bunch of damage. So his Sun Tzu must have some pretty good equipment. His archers didn't do that much damage, but they stayed alive far longer than I thought they would. And then his Kira and Baibars did pretty well. So that was a cool match. So thanks everyone for sticking around this long. I'm going to try and do it again tomorrow. I have 5 challenges, so I'll find 5 more players, and I'll show you new and interesting things possibly every day. So thanks for sticking around. Please like, and if you want to see the rest of the series, subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep making them. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.